Oh, we got camp well underway at the NovaCare Complex, and we're going to bring you an all-new Locked On Eagles squad show here on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. Louie DiBiase, Harry Mays, Jason Martinez, Marc Farzetta with you. And we'll also be talking about Kevin Patullo's wrinkles, his influence on this new Eagles offense. Talking about that and more on this edition of Locked On Eagles Squad Show.
Fly, Eagles, fly. It's the Eagles Squad, sponsored by Gametime. Everything Philadelphia Eagles every week, covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the city of brotherly love, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Eagles Squad show starting now.
And this is Locked On Eagles Squad show. This particular episode is brought to you by the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code Locked On NFL, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. Patullo's influence, make ordinary better from the people who brought you. Keep the main thing the main thing. Can't be greatness without the greatness of others. We have do ordinary better, as said yesterday by Nick Sirianni. We also have Quinyon's second year, second camp, how he is turning heads on Guantanamo Bay. And Vic Fangio, again, splashes cold water, gentlemen, on a piping hot take from an Eagle. Last week it was Jordan Mailata and how Jalix Hunt reminds him a lot of Micah Parsons. This time it was Cam Jurgens saying the offense has so much more to install while the defense is done. Well, Vic Fangio had a lot to say on that, as well as critiquing one of his corners. But let's start it off with this, gentlemen. I know a lot of people, although they might have confidence in this Eagles offense and what this Eagles offense can do, Kevin Patullo is yet another play caller, 6 in 6 years now for Jalen Hurts. The last time the Eagles had an in-house hire, promotion, elevation, it didn't work out so well with Brian Johnson. It resulted in an epic collapse at the end of the year. So, Louie, I'll start off with you. When you talk about Kevin Patullo's wrinkles, one of the things he talked about is an up-tempo offense. Another thing you talked about is throwing to the running back a little bit more, in particular A.J. Dillon. What are you making of the people saying that he's got that up-tempo offense clicking already for this Eagles offense?
Yeah, I like that, and I think it's a way to spark the offense early, especially in the passing game. And that was a big issue last year, was the first quarter offense. The passing game didn't get going early on in games, especially early on in the season. Even Doug Peterson did this a lot to really get Carson Wentz going. I think it's good for a quarterback to get into a rhythm with no huddle. I like an empty set a lot of times with no huddle. Just spread them out, 4 receiver sets, maybe, just a pass-heavy look early on in games. I like that idea, and I like hearing that they're throwing to the running back more because it's a way not only is, it's good to hear A.J. Dillon's getting involved, and Will Shipley caught a touchdown over the middle of the field today from Jalen Hurts, but it's a way to keep Saquon Barkley involved this year heavily without having the workload he did last year in the running game. I think it's a better way to balance out his touches and get him looks in the open field where he's not taking on as many hits. So I think it's really good news. And for me with Patullo, I don't think he needs to reinvent the wheel this year, but I think just add some different wrinkles on simple things. I just add an emphasis on that, and I think that'll help with more consistency.
Jason, before you say anything, I just want to jump in again. Love the word wrinkles. Just love it. And we're not talking about adjustments here. We're talking about wrinkles.
It's a big-time training camp word for sure.
Depends on how it's being used.
Yeah, I don't like wrinkles. Frankly. Yeah, I'm 60 years old.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah. We're aging. We're finding more wrinkles.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time in the sun, too.
Yeah.
So
the wrinkles
not
are
good.
Offensive, not offensive at this point for us. Look, I think that any offensive coordinator or play caller that doesn't start with an up-tempo is almost not doing his job. If you start off with just kind of a sleepy, mundane offense, you're not getting your quarterback into a rhythm early. Therefore, you're wasting time. To me, it makes all the sense in the world to especially start up-tempo and then change your tempo, because if you start up tempo and you slow it down, then you can kind of grind a defense and they don't know what to expect. And then you go back to up tempo. You really kind of throw them off and, prohibit them from maybe making a change in personnel at a key time on a third down, those kind of things about when you go up tempo. But I think it's huge to do it in the beginning of a game. And it just makes too much sense because you want your quarterback in that rhythm right away, whether it's up tempo when he's handing the ball off, swing passes, or going deep. You need your quarterback into the game early. And like Louie said, I mean, if you want to find the wart on the supermodel, it was the first quarter of games last year where they didn't score until about week 12. So that's something that they can't, you're not going to dodge that bullet again this season. So they got to remedy that first quarter execution of actually scoring touchdowns instead of just accumulating yards, but then not having anything to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a sort of a sleepy offense, as we talked about on postcast shows. It seemed every week, Jason, at least for the first 8 to 10 weeks, until they actually scored a touchdown in the first quarter. I forget exactly which game it was. So yeah, it makes all the sense in the world to me. I think, a lot of people, when they hear of up-tempo, they think of Chip Kelly, and they're like, it's like it's like they have PTSD from the Chip Kelly days and so forth. And I get that. And up-tempo is great as long as you're cranking off some first downs, because if it's up-tempo and a 3 and out, it's no good. You got to click off some first downs. This team has to be really better on first down early in games, I think, for this to work. But I like the idea. I came away. This is the first time I really heard Patullo talk to the media. I came away impressed with him. He seems to have a command that kind of, and I'm projecting here, but I've watched a lot of press conferences. He has a command where he looks like a guy that is future head coaching material, like as far as that goes. He commands a room, and you can tell that, I think I get the impression just from watching him that when he's in there with the offense, he's got their attention. And I like that. That's obviously a great characteristic to have, doing what they do. But I like the fact that it's going to be still run-oriented. He talked about Hurts running the football, or was asked about it, and he said it's going to be situational. And I get the feeling that Jalen is going to have a lot more sway in what goes on offensively with this team. And I also like the fact that he said, just the way he described it, he's going to be down on the field, because that's what he's used to, and he likes the interaction, the one-on-one interaction with his quarterback. And I think that's a good thing too. So I came away pretty impressed with old Patullo, your buddy Farzy.
He didn't seem like he was ever looking for an answer.
No.
Sometimes there's guys, when you see him for the first time, you go, "Oh, he's looking for answers. He's trying to."
Yeah.
He was on it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's important.
You hear guys. You hear the guys talk about him. Like before, I heard from Kevin Patullo. Before we heard from Kevin Patullo in this new role that he's in right now. I mean, mini camp, whatever. But Jordan Mailata, he commands the room. That kind of thing. Listening to AJ Brown, he really can address the room well. Like his communication skills are good, and that's going to be a big part of this new role that he's in. Now, he did say, he's like, I don't really find much of a difference in what I was doing to right now. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Come again? That's a joke, right?
He's minimizing.
Okay, just downplay it, I guess. But no, everyone is not just saying what you think they would say. To say that a guy commands a room means he's commanding the room. They're not just being nice. So I like that aspect of it. And then when you go back to the up-tempo idea, all this, look, if you're looking to do something different with the passing game. Now, I know some people might hear, like, Louie, what you were saying about Saquon's off the field and you go empty set or something like that. A lot of people might not like that too much. But if you're talking about giving him that rest and making sure that he isn't going to be overused and have another season of 482 touches, then this would be a good way to kind of have a healthy balance. Like, yeah, they might know that you're throwing the football, but you never know when you have Jalen Hurts, who's also that dual threat quarterback. And you're also catching guys off guard with the likes of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and obviously Jalen Hurts as well. So I love this idea. Yeah, I'm not looking to have a Chip Kelly, 30-second possession out of 3 and out, and all of a sudden your defense is getting worn out. But, yeah, catch them off guard a little bit. Do things that the Packers did back in the day with Aaron Rodgers, running that up-tempo. Do things that the Patriots did up-tempo. I think they were that happy medium between what Chip Kelly did and then what those two other offenses ran. And, yes, also, to your point, Louie, also when you talk about Doug Peterson, using that to get your offense more in that rhythm in the early goings of games. So, Jason, I know one of your big concerns of last year, and Harry, you as well, was running up-tempo to try to get them to score in the first quarter. So I think a step up in that regard is a good first wrinkle, influence, suggestion, or change when you talk about Kevin Patullo and what he's bringing to the table so far. That's what I'll look at from him.
Yeah, he also said something that kind of, I wrote it down, that he is very intentional during walkthroughs. Now think about that. Like you talk about detail-oriented people, like most of these really successful coaches, they're very detail-oriented.
Yeah.
That tells me he's really detail-oriented to be intentional at a walkthrough. He said like I could imagine him going on, in an interview for about an hour about what you can get out of a walkthrough. Like when most people hear about walkthroughs, it's sort of a throwaway. Oh yeah, they're not doing anything today. Yeah, not according to Kevin.
That's important,
it has
though.
intent. Yeah, if you can't do it right in the walkthrough, you're going to screw it up in the game.
Yeah,
that's his point. And like we have to do everything with intent to execute it perfectly in the game. He's a guy too that like I feel like a situation where if something's not working, like you can just tell by the way he spoke and the way he handled the questions that if something's not working, he's not going to just hang. Like Chip Kelly was so friggin' bullheaded, he couldn't get away from the running three plays.
And it's because he didn't have other answers, right? Like Patullo being prepared tells me he's going to have counters. He's not just going to have one thing, and if it doesn't work, he doesn't have a curveball, right? He only has the speed. Like, and I think that's what's important. Hearing him be so well prepared is that situational play calling is so important, especially for a new play caller, to hear somebody prepared like that, and he's considering tempo in certain spots.
Yeah.
Like I like that, again, wrinkles is the key word, that he's just exploring alternative options. Not that, again, this whole offense is going to be reinvented, but as a new play caller, a lot of the times I think they get rattled in like certain situations. You're like, why are they doing that? It doesn't make much sense. I noticed that about Brian Johnson in 2023, so I like hearing the walkthrough point. I think it's actually encouraging.
And he also made an analogy to the game of golf too during the press conference.
Yeah, perked up your ears.
It got me. I had to rewind it just to make sure I heard it.
Wait, what was it? What was the reference? I don't remember that one.
Well, you said something. It's like when you go out and play a round of golf. You never know what's going to happen. You hit the shot and you sort of react to it.
Yes.
From there. He made the analogy to a football reference.
You're right.
So,
The only other comparison he made that made me go, say what now? Was Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh,
he was talking about shit, and I said, "Okay, let's stop it. Don't stop it. We don't need that comparison." Not that I did no disrespect to Ryan Fitzpatrick, but when I think of Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think of Jalen Hurts. And in the terminology, the way he was referring to it, the context of it was back to running too much or making a play on his own, whatever. He was like, when we had Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think he was talking about his time in Buffalo,
with the Jets,
if I'm not mistaken, with the Jets. No, it was with the Jets.
Yeah.
I think it was with the Jets. You're right. And he was like, Ryan Fitzpatrick, back against the wall, he'd make a play for you like that. And I'm like, okay, I don't see a comparison.
I think of Harvard when I think of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think of Harvard. I think of long beards. And I think of journeyman quarterbacks.
I'd like to hang out with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he looks like a fun dude.
Yeah,
he does seem like a fun.
He's a woodsman.
Yeah, woodsman. Just because he has a beard doesn't mean he's a woodsman.
Yeah, it does. The last thing about Patullo for me is you can see why the players feel confident. Like, if that was a glimpse into the meeting room, into the, this when they're breaking down tape and all that stuff, you can see why players go, this guy's on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make too much of the press conference, though. But
what else do we have, Harry?
Yeah, we have in the past. Yes. Negative.
The last thing I'll say, the last thing I'll say, other than the up-tempo thing, the other thing is we've talked about it. I believe we've all mentioned it, and it is that time of year. I feel like we always transition from talking about lists to talking about the screen game and whether or not the Eagles are going to use the screen game. Like, I feel like it's just that time of the year. Mm-hmm. And he did highlight A.J. Dillon in particular as a guy who in camp in the very early goings is someone they're looking at that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He certainly did it a little bit when he was in Green Bay. It's a 20, 30 touch receptions, fine. But he does look forward to using that part of his game, and Kevin Patullo looks forward to kind of going back into that bag of tricks as far as throwing the ball to a running back out of the backfield. So that is something worth noting as well.
Yeah, you're going to see that in the preseason a bunch, and they're probably going to use it in the preseason more than they use it in the regular season to see if they have that tool. And they'll use A.J. Dillon to do it in the preseason and go, okay, we can go into the season feeling comfortable. We have this play. We have a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. And that can, to Louie's point earlier, that can help you with your usage on Saquon Barkley.
Shipley can catch it.
I was going to say, Will Shipley at Clemson, that's all he did was catch footballs.
That was his role at Clemson.
Yeah,
and Saquon can catch, too.
That's the thing.
I don't want to remove Saquon from the screen game conversation.
No.
Like, he's one of the best playmakers in the open field in the NFL. So, again, that's a way to get him the football, too, where he's not taking on the beating he is in the running game. So, yeah, again, Patullo's doing nothing that's, like, brand new to the NFL, but I just like that personally he has – like, it just feels like he has a well-prepared plan. And again, with it, he doesn't give me new coordinator vibes, like new play caller, where it's just too big for him. And I feel like the Eagles have kind of had issues with that in the past. So I think that's good, because you're going to have counters. Different games are going to call for different things. And, so far, so good.
Mm-hmm. One more thing on the Eagles offense here. I found it very interesting, aside from what Patullo had to say, what they're actually doing on the field. Tyler Steen, gentlemen, the only right guard to be playing right guard right now. Like, he's the only guy getting those reps. Now, Sirianni yesterday said, well, you guys don't see what we're doing kind of when we don't let you watch practice and all that, or what we're doing in the film room. But bottom line is the right guard of the Philadelphia Eagles is going to be Tyler Steen. That's the way they're planning it right now, Harry. To this point in time, he's the only guy that has gotten reps at that position.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that he's the leader in the clubhouse. As far as the rep thing, I have no real thought on that, except the fact that he's gotten them all thus far. Okay, good, but I expected him to be the number one guy at that position.
His job.
Drew Kendall is also getting reps at center for Cam Jurgens.
Yep.
Cam Jurgens has been limited. Did have the pads on yesterday. I love what Cam Jurgens said. Cam Jurgens said, if you don't have pads on, it ain't practice. It's fake. So I just love that attitude. But, yeah, Drew Kendall, their rookie lineman that they took out of Boston College, he is getting reps at center. He's splitting those reps with Cam Jurgens as he is limited right now with his back injury, still stemming from last year's injury. So there's a lot going on there as far as the center position goes. But offensive line looks like it is going to be set when the season approaches. But defensively speaking, and I want to make sure that we jump into this here, defensively speaking, Cam Jurgens said that the offense is far ahead, the offense is still installing what they want to do in this upcoming season, whereas the defense, it's installed. It's already set. It's already ready to go. When we come back, I will talk about what Vic Fangio had to say in response to Cam Jurgens' comments when it came to the defense being way ahead, gentlemen, of the offense. And we'll also talk about a narrative that often gets pushed this time of year when comparing offensive readiness and defensive readiness. That's when we return. This is Locked On Eagles Squad Show on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. And let me tell you about the incredible people at the Gametime app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? Gametime app has you covered. We've all been there, waiting to get those tickets, hanging out with friends. Are we going to get them? Well, Gametime app has you covered. Gametime makes getting tickets so much easier. You can find the best deal with the zone deals. You can pick the best seats. You can view your seat before you buy it on the Gametime app. So you literally take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Gametime app. Here's what you got to do. You got to download the app. You got to create an account. You got to use promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. How about this? No hidden fees. What you see is what you pay on the Gametime app. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account and use redemption code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So Vic Fangio, gentlemen, after Cam Jurgens addressed the media yesterday and said that the defense is far ahead of the offense, Vic Fangio, paraphrasing our friend Jeff Kerr, what he had to say, Fangio's got something for Cam Jurgens. In other words, you haven't seen everything yet. You've seen us for a full year, but you haven't seen us this year. Talk about wrinkles, talk about adjustments. That's something that Vic Fangio is cooking up right now. Last week, it was Jordan Mailata offering a lot of praise to Jalix Hunt. Last week, it was also A.J. Brown talking about Drew Makuba as if he was going to be an all-pro, and Vic Fangio saying, yeah, I belly laughed at that, and I hope you guys laughed too. Vic Fangio is all about being real with this defense, and with the praise this defense is already getting from Cooper DeJean to Jalen Carter, who's just getting back onto the practice field now, and also Quinyon Mitchell, Harry, it looks like this Eagles defense is going to be just as daunting as it was in the very early stages of camp. Let me just say that.
Well, yeah, I really had no idea why Cam Jurgens said that about the defense, that they're basically, it is what it is. What you see is what you get. It's not going to evolve from here is basically what he was saying. I'm like, what? Why would anybody even ask him something like that? I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, Vic Fangio has plenty of tricks up his sleeve between now and week 1, and then he'll have even more between week 1 and week 18. So I'm not worried about that. But, yeah, as far as, him throwing cold water on some of these suggestions about some of his players, I wouldn't expect anything different. He's old school, man. I mean, he's not going to let anybody's head get too big out there, especially when, you haven't played, one game. You're just going up against, your teammates all the time. And that's what these coaches, he already has a big idea of what he's got out there, okay? And then that'll change when he sees him going up against teams in other jerseys at these combined practices. Are they going to be doing that this year too? That's now become a thing.
Yeah.
That's even more important than the preseason games, really. So, I can't wait till we get to there. I wish we could just fast forward to when they're actually going up against other players from other teams, because frankly, I'm already bored with it.
That's fair.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Louie, I know you have something on Adoree Jackson, and I want to get to that, but here's what I found so amazing. So we're used to the idea, right, where defenses are ahead of offenses when they first report, training camp, and even preseason and into weeks 1, 2, and 3. We're used to defenses being ahead of offenses. But here's what's so surprising about this, Louie. I'd love to get your thoughts, and Harry, please chime in on this as well. But all the questions we've asked in the offseason were about the defense. The right guard position, we went, I don't care. Just dress up a scarecrow and put him there at the right guard spot, and he'll block just fine as long as Jeff Stoutland put the scarecrow together, okay? Defensively speaking, we're talking about, let's see, you have a new safety who's going to be a rookie. You're going to be moving Cooper DeJean to 3 different positions, apparently. You have Jahad Campbell just getting healthy, Nakobe Dean not playing. The outside corner is either Keely Ringo or Adoree Jackson, or the field, possibly. Milton Williams is gone. All these questions on the defensive side of things, and still this new install of the defense is far ahead of what the offense is doing right now. That's one of the things that I found so fascinating about this, Louie, when it came to, I understand it's still Vic Fangio, and it's a different guy in Kevin Patullo running the offense, but all the new pieces to the puzzle, all these guys learn the defense that quickly, I'm a little, I got questions, Louie. I got questions.
You could look at it in a positive way that the young guys are developing. Moro Ijoma sounds like he's been having a dominant summer so far, which is great news. Same with Jalix Hunt. Todd Campbell had a really good day today, made plays on Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert. So you could look at it that way. And Fangio's in year 2. His system, a lot of these guys know the defense, whereas Kevin Patullo is a new play caller. But I also just think naturally in camp, like you said, offenses are slower to get going, and some of these drills, you got to remember, are like set up on purpose for the defense, or they're set up for the offense. So I always take it with a grain of salt until they do have these joint practices with other teams, until I get to see some live game reps in the preseason. Because for me, it's hard to just read tweets and kind of get a true understanding of what's going on. So I think you could look at it in 2 different ways. But for me, I see it as a positive, because a lot of these young guys are stepping up into huge roles on defense, like Ijoma and Jahad Campbell and Jalix Hunt and Drew Makuba. So for me, I think it's a good sign, because I have no worries that the offense isn't going to produce. Like when the time comes during games, they have, to me, the best offense on paper in the NFL. So I would rather have the defense be the unit right now that is not struggling, because I don't have any reservations right now about the offense, even with a new play caller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. When it comes to that offense, I just look at a team that's running it back, essentially. And when I look at the defense, I went, there's a lot of new pieces. Granted, Jason, you still have, Zach Bond. You still got Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis is supposed to be the new and improved, fat, slim Jordan Davis. You still have Quinyon Mitchell. You still have Reed Blankenship. That's a lot of talent at those positions at various levels, but still a lot of talent. With the new pieces, how are they ahead? How does it make any sense that they'd be ahead of what the offense is doing?
Defense is always ahead in the beginning.
Yeah, right.
It just always is, and it's almost in every
It's that
sport.
much of a learning curve, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You're attacking, you're not dictating, and there's less schematic. I don't want to say there's less schematic things that happen on the defensive side of the ball than happen on the offensive side of the ball, but there's less schematic things. It's you're covering your area, you're doing your job. Same thing for an offense, but that requires everybody to be in perfect concert with each other. And it's hard to tell in a preseason exactly who's ahead of who, because offenses don't show anything, and they're not going to show, the depth of their play calling and show you wrinkles that they want to use in the regular season. It's rather dumbed down and vanilla. But a defense is always ahead in every sport in the very beginning, while the offense is looking to gel. So I think that it stands to reason, even though there's new faces there. The thing is that Vic Fangio puts his players, and I think the part that we don't see about Vic Fangio in the meeting rooms and telling guys their job and going through the playbook and deciding who's going to do what on what given play, given the situations that come out. I think he probably just is a great communicator and very succinct. You get the sense that he doesn't use a lot of words to tell guys what to do. Here's your job, do it. If I don't have you doing your job, then somebody else is trying to do yours. Now I got two guys not doing their job. And I don't think he's got much of an appetite for giving guys a lot of leash. I think that
it's fun.
Jordan Davis has learned that. I think other guys are learning that now. And the one guy you didn't mention is Cooper DeJean, who he can just kind of move around too. So he's got guys that really follow the ball. So that they're going to be ahead right now. There's just no doubt about it.
I'm sorry. It's funny you say that, because Jihad Campbell was like, yeah, Vic's a guy that's very efficient with his words. Like he speaks very few words. He's not a wordsman, as some might say.
He's not
a wordsmith. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very to the point, very direct. And you want that, because you don't want to get the message all jumbled up and lose clarity, unfortunately. So that's a great thing that's the way he goes about his business. The other thing with Vic Fangio, now I just want to just to illustrate this point further, as somebody who is verbose, I believe in a world of happiness. I feel like if the Eagles had a chip and putt competition at NovaCare, that would make Harry very happy. I feel like if the Eagles changed their colors to orange and black, that would raise Jason's eyebrows. If the Eagles sign Justin Simmons, which they'll do eventually, that would make me very happy. And then Louie, I feel that would make you really happy, is Keely Ringo just being named the starting outside corner opposite Quinyon Mitchell. And Vic Fangio today did not hold back from his critique of Adoree Jackson. Louie, what did the good defense coordinator say about that outside corner?
It was crazy. I mean, Vic Fangio's blunt, right? But what he said today, like, I don't want to say it went too far, but he went in on Adoree Jackson. He's like, it's time to figure out who he is or who he's going to be, because he said this verbatim. He didn't re-sign with the Tennessee Titans. The New York Giants didn't re-sign him. Like, he's just shredding him, like basically saying he's a journeyman because he's not very good. And I know Fangio is so old school, and I think this is just part of his motivating tactic.
I love it.
A lot of players do. I think he's perfect for this team that's so used to the Kirby Smarts of the world and the Nick Sabans. But hearing him talk today, I'm like, all right, I kind of get why the Miami Dolphins defense completely hated this guy. Like, you do have to be wired in a very thick-skinned way to be okay with, like, what he said today would rub a lot of players the wrong way, but his actions probably speak louder than words, because Adoree Jackson, as much as I don't love hearing it, he's been the first guy on the field with the first team at outside corner. It was 3 days in a row. Today it was Keely Ringo, but it's not like, Fangio's comments mean that he's not giving Jackson a chance to win this job. It truly does feel like it's an open competition. I personally think if Ringo can't beat out Adoree Jackson, I'm going out there and finding somebody else, because I don't think Jackson is good enough to play 17 games for a Super Bowl contending defense. But it is just funny hearing Fangio say that, because, I mean, he definitely doesn't mix words. Like, he went in on him today, but he's giving him an opportunity. So that tells me it's more motivating than he's trying to shred him. But guys like Bryce Huff couldn't handle that. I think Bryce Huff last year wanted out the minute Fangio said something like that about him. So you got to be wired in a different way to be okay with Fangio's style.
Adoree Jackson compared Vic Fangio to Dick LeBeau.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's
he's old school.
Talk about old school respect. Like that's that guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio is like a caller to sports radio. He's got like that kind of bluntness, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like
well, players. He is. He's a Philly fan. I mean, literally, he was showing
He's got a Dick Allen
words,
jersey.
I knew him as Richie. He even corrected. I think it was Reuben Frank last year. I knew him as Richie. You might say Dick, but Richie Allen. Yeah. But
let's go to Elkins Park and Vic on the line. Vic, how do? Like. This a Dory Jack,
See, that's the cool part. He's not pandering like, some coaches wear Philly stuff. Like, this is naturally him, which is cool.
You can tell he's from here.
Yeah, you can.
The guys that go, I don't listen to sports radio, I don't read the newspapers, are not the guys that are going to get along with Vic Fangio, right?
No. Yeah.
He's going to
Vic at the Palladium. You're on the air.
He walks around with a big mirror and shows it. They didn't believe in you. They didn't believe in you. That's why you're not there. You're here. If you want us to believe in you, you got to earn it. Like, I love coaching like that. I think, especially for a guy in that situation, that he didn't stick around at a couple of teams because he didn't earn it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with him holding up a mirror and saying to that guy, you haven't earned it anywhere. So if you're going to earn it here, you better show me.
Yeah.
That's the right makeup for this defense. They're the youngest defense in football. They're all coming from Georgia and Alabama pretty much, where they got hard coaching. Again, Fangio does not work everywhere, and I would understand why a player would not want to play for somebody like this. It's not my personal style of coaching, but for the makeup of this football team, he's the perfect coach, and that's why it worked last year.
What I notice is when you talk about coaching college versus obviously in the pros in the NFL, what you hear from every player is like, hey, I'm a man. I'm not some college kid. I'm a man. You talk to me like I'm a man. Well, this is man talk. This is the real deal. This isn't sugarcoating anything. Exactly. This is not dancing around the subject. This is right between the eyes. Yeah, this is right between the eyes honesty. Yeah. So I think if you want to be a pro and you want the absolute best, then this is the way some people got to be coached. And I think Vic Fangio has had a lot of success in the NFL, no better higher point than what he was able to accomplish last year running this defense. And now he's got a bunch of young players in here and here's the best part of it. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship, who's been here for a while now. They all had a lot of success with Vic Fangio. And there's no better way to drive home your point than, you think I'm tough? See that Lombardi trophy over there? I helped with that. That was true. See, you know who we stopped? You know who we stopped in that one? Patrick Mahomes. So if you think I don't know what I'm doing, I know how to get the best out of you, and Travis Kelce. You think you don't know? You think? Well, listen to me. If you think
That's
I don't
fair.
know what I'm talking
it's
about,
an earned reputation. Like he can be this way because the track record shows it works. Whereas like a Chip Kelly can't come into the NFL acting like he's the best play caller of all time and act like he's done it before when he hasn't. So it is an earned style of coaching. So I think that's why players buy into it more, because this isn't phony at all.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, he probably has a shorter shelf life because of it. But if you want a coach like that, if you have a coach like that, and Louie just said it, when you have the youngest defense in the NFL, you want those coaches having an effect on those players to play detailed, play hard, know that the NFL is not a pat-your-butt league, that you got to earn everything you want. You want to instill that in your players young, and then they carry it forward and they hand it down to younger players. His shelf life's probably not long because he rides guys hard, and they're probably like, he's a son of a bitch a lot of the times until they're lifting the trophy, until they're getting paid more money because they've gone beyond where they thought they could push themselves as a player. So I love having him here. I don't think he'll be here very long, but enjoy it while you do and rack up as much as you can while he's here, because he's great at his job, and I think he just fits here. So it was just fate. He had to end up here eventually. It just made too much sense with a name like Vic Fangio.
So he reminds you of Tortorella.
Exactly.
I knew that's where you were going. Damn it. I mean, why didn't you just say it and save us all about a minute and a half? Because I knew exactly what you were doing.
This was all a coded Flyers take.
Exactly right.
They share a heritage as well. Yep. They burn hot. But Tortorella actually lasted long, more than most coaches at most places by NHL standards. But those coaches burn hot, and they're tough, man. They wear you down, but they get you to break through barriers that you probably wouldn't break through on your own, even being a competitive professional athlete. But Harry, you're absolutely right. He is like Torts.
At the next meeting, Louie and I will find out what part of Italy they're both from, and we'll figure out.
Where are you from in the boot?
From the bottom of the boot. Where is he at? Up north?
From Nobly Dobbly?
Oh, I'm guaranteed neither one of them are from above Rome. I'll draw the line at Naples. But anyway, I'll draw the line at Naples. The butter line, if you will.
Yeah,
all right. Now, when it comes to this defense overall that Vic Fangio is running, I want to get more into this in a second, and that has to do with Quinyon Mitchell. It has to do with Cooper DeJean, and it has to do with Jordan Davis. We talked a lot about the weight loss. Well, other guys are coming into the fray here to offer praise of JD and the way he's moving now that he's a little bit lighter. I know Louie's got a message for you. We're going to be back after that, talk a little bit more about this Philadelphia Eagles defense run by Vic Fangio and the stars on the list. This is Locked On Eagles Show podcast on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel.
Today's episode of the Locked On Eagle Squad podcast is brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football season is back. Fire up the group chats, get your draft boards ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions that we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy this year. Me and the Locked On Eagle Squad, we're all playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league, we've been doing the league with our friends since 2009. 13 teams, 2 keepers, big-time drafts to celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness. Yahoo Fantasy, they're adding the features that we need. They're dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. And it all begins next week, August 4th. Stay tuned to get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season, the best one yet.
Locked On Eagles Squad show. So, gentlemen, Quinyon Mitchell, Guantanamo Bay is apparently just capturing people left and right. Number one, A.J. Brown. Apparently the only person to be locking up A.J. Brown so far through training camp is a guy who is traveling side to side. And as you would assume, Quinyon Mitchell, it doesn't matter. He'll play wherever he's asked to play, and he'll try to lock down whoever he's asked to lock down and often have success. He even picked off Jalen Hurts yesterday at practice for his first interception, the first interception at training camp to this point. And then also Cooper DeJean traveling around. Jason, Quinyon Mitchell is a guy that I don't think gets a lot of shine, unfortunately. I think we all realize how good he is, but with Cooper DeJean's hot off season, Cooper DeJean's pick 6 in the Super Bowl, and Cooper DeJean being a guy who's talked about a lot, moving around this Eagles defense, are some people forgetting just how special Quinyon Mitchell is?
Here we go.
Maybe.
There's the disrespect of Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, he's not as shiny of a toy to talk about like Cooper DeJean, but I love Guantanamo Bay. Does he eat breakfast 300 yards from 300 Giants who are trained to kill him? You know, Harry knew it was going. But that's awesome, Guantanamo Bay.
You like that?
I love it, Harry.
Love it.
Any excuse to get
Nate jeez, no, come on. No, Harry, you're out. You're out on the Guantanamo Bay.
I like Q better. If I was him, I'd just go by Q.
It's Quitmo.
Yeah,
down there in Quitmo.
Yeah.
No, but like he's a ball hawk, right? To me, the thing that really impressed me about Quinyon Mitchell last year the most was he never looked like a rookie.
Right.
He never looked overwhelmed. To play that position, you got to have a lot of swagger, and confidence because you're really kind of left out there to your own devices and you have to deal with some of the biggest and best receivers in the game. And it's a position that when you mess up, you look really bad. And he just looked cool as a cucumber out there. You got to have that cool kind of can't overreact to.
You got to have a short memory.
You really, it's like a goalie in hockey. Like you make the mistake, it's bad. But he's very chill.
It's true, though, for sure.
He looks mature. It's a last line of defense. That's the thing. And he just looks really mature at a really young age. And this guy comes in with a lot of expectations, starting as a rookie on this defense. And, like, you look at him, and he's going to be one of those guys you just don't have to worry about. You don't have to talk about a lot. You're not going to garner a ton of conversation, but because other guys are going to garner it. But you're going to have a supreme confidence in him. And I was thinking about getting an Eagles jersey. Like, what guys do you get? He's another guy you get his jersey. He's not people go, oh my God, look at a Quinyon Mitchell jersey, like they would the Cooper DeJean, but he is going to be equally as important as Cooper DeJean.
He ain't no Nnamdi Asomugha.
No,
Okay.
not eating breakfast, not eating lunch in his car.
Like quarterbacks might not throw to his side of the field, and you might think, oh, well, he's not really doing all the time. He's not in the play. Well, there's a reason he's not in the plays because his guy's never open.
Yeah,
and that's what they said about Nnamdi Asomugha until he got here.
Yeah, if you don't hear about the cornerback, that's good news. It's part of why Quinyon Mitchell last year was so underrated is because his highlight reel is very limited because quarterbacks weren't throwing his way. So exactly.
He's a blanket on. He fronts guys beautifully too.
He's one of the best mirroring man coverage corners already in football. Pro Football Focus actually ranked him as a top 4 overall man coverage corner, which is huge because at Toledo, he barely, I think 95% of the time Toledo was playing zone coverage. So that's what's awesome. I think he's going to be an all-pro cornerback in year 2. And the one thing that he wasn't really able to do last year was finish on plays. Like he always put himself in a position to get interceptions. He could have had 6-7 interceptions. Like you could make a 3 to 5 minute highlight reel tape of him being in a position and just not finishing the play. So to hear he's making one-handed picks against AJ Brown and camp is awesome because we always knew he had the playmaking ability. He had 4 interceptions in a game once at Toledo. It's just the hands were a problem last year. He's got to finish. And if he does that, then the sexy stats are going to pop up. The box score is going to get in there. And then I think Quinyon Mitchell doesn't become underrated anymore. And that's, I think, the next step to becoming an all-pro corner is he's just got to finish those plays. And it sounds like so far in camp he's been doing that because that's really like everything else about Q last year as a rookie was a top 5, top 10 cornerback in football.
Yeah, I need somebody to do a deep dive into how he ended up at Toledo, like with a talent like that. Like
well, Bama wanted him to transfer, and he wouldn't leave.
Oh, he wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
But I mean, he initially,
right,
like coming out of high school, I need to know what happened.
He must have been thin or something like that.
Maybe he was undersized at the time. I don't know, but
too quiet. That's probably what it was.
Yeah. I like that in my corner.
Q for quiet.
But he's also he isn't quiet on the field though. That's like he's a psychopath. And in the Super Bowl parade, he was a crazy person too. So he's got that. You got to be a little nuts, like Jason said. To be a goalie, you got to be kind of a weirdo, and to be a corner, you kind of got to be
way
a weirdo.
Nuts.
And he's like he doesn't get enough credit for it, but he's a strange dude, so it works.
Playing position in sports of consequence like that, you got to be wired a little bit different, and that's the year 2 evolution of the player is going from a guy that got his hands on a lot of balls but didn't bring them in. Then year 2, you go, okay, this guy's a guy that can have 6 or 7 interceptions this year.
Right.
Take a couple to the house.
He could have led the league in picks last year. He was that close, like 1,000 times.
Well, CJGJ bounced a couple out of his hands, if I remember correctly.
Right, that's true too.
He's not here anymore to get in his way. So
friendly fire.
Right. Friendly fire. The other thing is you talk about being a psycho. I mean, you talk about a guy also being quiet. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. The first words he ever said to AJ Brown were that route was trash, bro.
Yeah.
And
fucking smacked to AJ Brown right out of the gate.
And then he whooped at Evans.
Statistically, AJ Brown is the most unguardable one-on-one receiver in football, and he's saying that to him the first practice.
And then he woofed at Evans at in the Tampa game.
Exactly.
Mike Evans.
He kept on bringing it.
I
think that shows a lot of the attitude. You're not afraid of getting burnt. You know you're good enough to back that up. And if you're doing that as a rookie, I got to say, you're going to be talking about somebody, Louie, I agree, is going to be flirting with an all-pro when you talk about what he could do in this second year.
Sounds like Fangio wants to travel him. Like we talked about Cooper DeJean playing different spots. Fangio's been playing him on the left side more this year because he wants to get him used to playing both sides because if there's an offense that has just like one true elite player, I think there's going to be times Fangio plays a little bit more man coverage this year so he can move both Q and DeJean around.
We're going to be talking about positionless
optionality.
Exactly.
Positionless football. Positionless football. It started in basketball, and now it's going to football, unfortunately.
Ben Simmons, wasn't he positionless until he was positioned on a bench?
He still is.
That wasn't positionless in a good way.
Yeah, in a bad way. All right. Jordan Davis has dropped a lot of weight. Everyone's now chiming in on it.
26 pounds, I think it is, right?
Yeah, I like that he looked over at Bob Lang, PR man extraordinaire with the Eagles, and was like, can I give the specifics? Okay, cool. I dropped 36 pounds. They wanted me at like 300, 310. I dropped 26 pounds. That's where I'm at. He's not drinking his calories. And Azeez Ojulari, which is interesting, he was teammates at Georgia with Jordan Davis the last time he was this small, if you can call still a man of that size small. But he just said, he's just looking sleek. He's looking fast. He's looking like a guy that you saw have some athleticism that not a lot of people have talked about. They talked about strength. They've talked about being a run stuffer. But all in all, he is looking, Harry, like a guy that can be everything he was supposed to be coming out of Georgia and more. When you talk about just a guy that was a run stuffer, now looks to be out there on passing downs on 3rd and long and specifically.
Yeah, and good. That's good on him because guys who could stay out there on passing downs get paid. Okay, he's looking to get paid, and I totally get it. And hopefully the Eagles, as a defense, can benefit from this, and hopefully it's not just a guy who's motivated to be in great shape, but can actually translate that onto the football field. So, we'll have to see how it plays out. But how many times have we had athletes in this town, and you pick the sport, that come into camp, not in shape, or you see them in preseason games or whatever it is, and you're like, man, he doesn't look ready to go. Like, that's the biggest. Bells and whistles go off. You're like, this guy's lazy. What was he doing in the off season? We don't have that worry coming in here, but we're not even in August yet. We still got 10 days until the first preseason game, and I don't know how much action is a guy like that going to get in an actual preseason game? Probably
with Fangio, maybe the first quarter. Yeah,
you think?
Yeah, drive or two.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll wait till
Fangio
I see
plays. Yeah, Fangio plays his starters. That's one of the things I remember from last year. Maybe they were out there for half of the first quarter. Yeah, maybe 2 drives or so, but I feel like it might have been a little bit more than that. And then guys that are fighting for jobs or getting opportunities to fight for those jobs, or guys that are looking to solidify themselves at least, even as a second stringer, you're going to see out there on the football field. So Fangio doesn't hold back when it comes to the preseason compared to the offense.
Well, he had better be good because, as far as the second and third string guys at those positions, they're a little light.
Well, and Davis, even last year, week 18, when they were resting their starters, he played a lot in that Giants game. So I think they want him to continue to get reps to develop as a pass rusher. I liked what Fangio said today about, he needs to get lower. Sometimes he needs to play at 6'2", and when you're more tired, you're going to play higher. And that's the issue with Jordan Davis, why he can't get to the quarterback consistently late in the year, is because of the conditioning. So, yeah, I think, again, it's great to see how good he looks and what everybody's saying about him. But as I've said on the show before, it's July. I want to see that at the end of October and November, because last year he played a career low snaps. So, and Moro Ujoma looks really good, and they got Ty Robinson. So I still don't know how much more of a role he's going to have this year. But if he can, it's all about maintaining now what he's at right now. And that's the most important part, because, he does look completely different on the field.
They want to carry less weight so that he doesn't get to that tired state where he plays more upright and doesn't have the same power and push that he has when he was heavier, so he can play more downs and do those things. And it's good to see that he went into the offseason and took their instruction.
Because if he gets low first before you, it's over. I don't know how if you're high on Jordan Davis, you can't win that rep. So
right. By the way, you just
we're not going to know. We're not going to know on some of these guys until a month into the season. It's just we want to make so many determinations now because we're just thirsting for anything. But
these are the tea leaves.
It's going to take time, right?
Yeah, these are the
good start though. He looks completely different though.
He did the work in the off season.
Yeah, you can and last year he looked good but with the pads on now, you can see the change. And I didn't see that last year when the pads came on, so that's a good sign too.
You did remind me of this, Louie, when you mentioned the size, playing at 6'2". Moro Ojomo is not a small guy. All right, he's 6'3". He's not a giant, but he's 6'3". I wouldn't call that undersized at all. No. Moro Ojomo, I thought, had the line of training camp so far, and that was I strike. You like that? I strike like I'm big, and I move like I'm small.
Like I'm small. Yeah, that was terrific. I wrote that one down.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. I was like, yes, more of that, please. Because, look, he's going to get an opportunity there with or without Jordan Davis. He's going to get an opportunity to play DT. He's getting some run on the outside as well. Eagles also have the rookie and Ty Robinson, who we're all looking forward to seeing out there on the field, especially in the preseason, because that's when we're really going to get to see what he can do at the NFL level and see if he's up to, throwing dudes out of the way, throwing men out of the way, not like in college. So I look forward to seeing that. But, when you talk about a guy that talks about his own ability as it is compared to his size, I absolutely love that mindset when it comes to what he could bring to the table there for Moro Ojomo. Because he's a guy, talk about guys we haven't talked about a lot. Moro Ojomo. Look, Jordan Davis possibly taking over the reps as we talked about last week with Milton Williams leaving. Moro Jomo flat out highlighted it by himself.
Yeah.
And he said
he wants to fill that role.
Yeah, he's like, look, Javon Hargrave was gone. Milton Williams stepped up. Milton Williams is now gone. Mm-hmm. I want my crack at it.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. He's only got 2 years left on his rookie deal. Like, if he has a breakout year this year, has another strong season next year, he's going to get paid too. And if it's not by the Eagles, they're going to have to continue this kind of pipeline they've had. But again, luckily for the Eagles, Hargrave had a lot of success because of Fletcher Cox. Milton Williams had a lot of success because of Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is still on this football team, so hopefully Moro Ujoma has that same success. When you're playing next to a guy like that, I think you're always going to be set up better for that player next to him to succeed. So I think Ujoma, he's been one of the standouts so far early on in camp, which is great to hear because that's an important role. There's going to be mismatches right there next to Carter. Somebody's got to take advantage of it, and I'm still skeptical that Jordan Davis can do that consistently.
Right.
Yeah, I came away impressed with Ojomo. I wrote that down too, Mark. It's funny that jumped out at you too because I was like, I like the sound of that. Yeah. And I tell you, Jalix Hunt impressed me too, man. That guy's got a personality. I wrote down Brandon Graham 2.0 as far as just the way he sort of comes across. He's upbeat, man, and I think he's going to have a big year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, when you bring a comp up, you bring a comparison to like a guy like Micah Parsons, then people are just going to roll their eyes. But if Jordan Mailata is saying, he can cut on a dime like Micah Parsons, fine, that might be high praise and laughable according to Vic Fangio. But okay, if Jordan Mailata, who was rated as the best football player in the league last year, if he is saying this about a young and up-and-coming player, I might not take it as literal as some other people, but I'll be like, okay. My man's doing what he's got to do in the offseason to make sure that he really brings it, knowing that there's going to be reps there for the taking. With Josh Sweat not being here, with Brandon Graham not being here, he's going to look to take over those reps and get that opportunity. Even with Ojulari here, with Uche here, with Jahad Campbell, whatever role they're going to use him in, whether that's outside linebacker or edge rusher, Jalix Hunt wants his. So, personality-wise, certainly. Work ethic-wise, absolutely.
Yeah.
I still don't like the idea of Vic Fangio saying that Jalix Hunt was a liar when he said that in the second half of the Super Bowl, Vic Fangio said, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Fangio did that, too. I totally believe he did that. He absolutely
Vic Fangio don't like them rats, man. Don't like them rats. Let things out in the open. Two things when we come back. There's a blink of a break here, gentlemen. Number one, a new slogan to go right along the lines in the same territory there of you can't be great without the greatness of others.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to ask the question that I know everybody in the chat, I know everybody watching, everybody listening, everyone needs to know the answer to. And Harry Mays is the only person that can answer this question. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On Eagle. Oh, yeah. Locked On Eagles Squad podcast on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. From the people that brought you, keep the main thing the main thing. We have an all new one. Can't be great without the greatness of others. How about this, Louie? How about this, Harry? Do ordinary better. How about that, Jason? Do ordinary better. Why just do the ordinary when you can do the ordinary better?
We do the ordinary better.
Man, the Eagles could open
Doesn't that
up
sound like a fast food chain? It sounds like a fast food chain.
Yeah,
they could open up their own Hobby Lobby with just like stupid sayings for a picture frame for
Nick Sirianni. When describing a drill, it was a contested catch drill, and he said, if we're gonna block, we got to block better. If we're gonna do the tackle, we got to tackle better. We just have to do the ordinary better. And then he referenced that same phrase. He said that same phrase, I think 3 different times during a 2-minute answer. Do ordinary better.
Harry. I like it. It makes a lot of sense when you really think about what he's trying to say. But I just wonder, where does he come up with this? Does he find these in books, or is he making them up
Each
himself?
player and coach has a thesaurus in their locker.
He goes to a marketing think tank.
Is that what it is?
We do ordinary better.
Jalen had one today, too. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. That was.
I've heard that before.
I've heard that.
Boo!
So
he's playing the hits with that one. Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Do you think Jalen Hurts has come up with any of these sayings originally, though? I don't
know.
I don't know. There's no, but he's a psychopath. He's probably sitting there thinking about in a dark room, what I can say, what saying I have for next week's press conference. That
if they're not original. If they're not original,
Yeah.
they're in books that probably date back to like the Renaissance. You know what I mean?
Do you think he's like LeBron James, where he reads like the first chapter, sees a saying like that, he's like, all right, that's all I need that book for, and then he goes to another one.
Hey, I
LeBron
lost a
doesn't read
serious
any of
show
those.
over that damn thing. Let's not bring that up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I gotta ask this question because this is the question that everyone needs to know. And I know Jason, me, Louie, we stayed up real late on the phone talking, wondering what Harry would say to this because this is the most pertinent question in America today. Harry, you're the only one that can answer this. Is Happy Gilmore 2 a good movie?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, come on!
No,
Do you
I haven't
predict it
seen
will
it.
be a good movie? I would
I
say
knew you.
not.
I knew you wouldn't have seen it. I
No,
knew you did not see
I don't.
this
I don't
movie
think
yet.
it's going to be any good.
It's gonna be a
Oh, it's
cameo
fantastic.
fest, right?
It's
I think
cameo
Travis
fest,
Kelsey's
yeah.
in it. I just
Yeah,
no,
oh,
thank you.
I
All the
loved
people
I
we've
loved
seen
every
enough
second
of.
it.
I'll watch it because it's on Netflix and I have Netflix, but I don't think it's going to be good. I don't have
Has there ever-
high expectations.
Has there ever
And-
been a
Okay.
sequel made more than a decade later that was good? Like that you
No.
revived a movie like 20 years later. I just
Right.
like when has that ever worked?
Right.
Okay, all right.
And it's revived the Shooter McGavin guy's career, which annoys the hell out of me. I've seen it.
You don't like Christopher McDonald?
I love
Ah,
Shooter
jeez.
McGavin. Elite.
I love Shooter McGavin.
Elite villain, movie villain.
Elite.
Grew up in the same city as me as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Buffalo, New York. Yeah, Shooter
did I
McGavin.
ever, did I ever
Almost
tell you
Johnny
about?
Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls and Shooter McGavin, Harry.
That's right.
Johnny Resnick.
And
Yeah.
moderately known podcaster Louie DiBiase.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's right there. You know,
I belong
he
in
said
that
his
list.
house was haunted. He said his house up there was haunted. You know
believe
that?
it.
Wolf Blitzer's from Buffalo, too.
That's right. Wolf Blitzer is too.
The big names of Buffalo.
I will say, gentlemen, I loved it. I loved Happy Gilmore too. You got to know what you're
You
getting
watched
into.
it? You
Oh,
saw
I
it?
watched. I laughed my ass off. Look, it's not
Stupid,
Shakespeare, folks. All right, it's not Shakespeare. It's
Yeah.
a fun movie. All right. So I don't want to be too
Did
hot.
you like Top Gun Maverick?
I've never
Came
I
out
haven't
more
seen.
than 10 years.
I didn't see
That's
that.
true. I haven't seen either Top Gun movie.
Oh, you haven't
What?
seen? I saw the first one, but not the second one.
You
I
didn't
haven't
see
seen
the
either, actually.
first Top Gun?
This is correct. I did not see the first Top Gun, but I still haven't seen it. And now it's at the point, it's like one of those things where when you bring it up that you haven't seen it, people
Out of
people-
spite, you're not going to watch it. Yeah.
I just enjoy the what?
Yes.
How
That's
have
why
you-
I've never watched Game of Thrones for that exact same
Yeah.
reason. And Sopranos. Although that's in my blood, I should be watching that. But
You
Me
should
with
watch
Star Wars.
Sopranos.
I know.
Star Wars.
That
there
one
you
I'm
go.
gonna
You
watch.
See that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never
Star
seen
Wars?
it.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people build up a show so much or a movie
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
that now you can't watch it because the expectation is it's the
Exactly.
greatest
It's
thing in
2
the
hours
world.
long. This Happy Gilmore too.
It is. That was surprising, and I will say,
Trim an hour off that.
I'd say you could lose about 20. You could lose.
I can't imagine a
20 minutes.
plot of a Happy
Yeah.
Gilmore 2 is going to carry for 2 hours.
That's
so
what I
that's
mean.
concerning.
You want to hear something crazy? The first Happy Gilmore movie came out 29 years ago.
Is that right?
1996.
They referenced
born a
30
year
years
later.
ago in the movie, and I threw up in my mouth a little
Isn't
bit.
that crazy?
Oh.
I
I was
looked
like
to
in
see when it
6th
came
grade.
out. 29 years ago. Sandler
Louis,
looked
you weren't
much
even a
different.
I was born 1 year later, gentlemen. 97.
All right, maybe you were an idea.
Yeah, I was.
All right,
Jeez.
folks, we got so much more to break down as the week goes on. We got another Eagle Squad show coming up on Thursday to break down even more of training camp, more of what Jalen Hurts had to say today, more of what Vic Fangio had to say today, and also all the things the Eagles are going to be fighting for on the practice field, pads on and all. As other guys get healthy, other guys hope to come back sooner rather than later. We'll break it all down on Locked On Eagles Squad show. For daily content on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel, make sure you guys are checking out our friend Louie DiBiase and co-host right there. Make sure you guys are checking out Locked On Eagles Squad postcasts with Harry Mays and Jason Martinez right there. And I just might be joining you guys for some preseason action. You
Oh
never
man!
know. How about that?
Wow.
Why not? 3 talking heads are better
All
than
right,
2, right?
You watch the second half of the preseason game. I'll watch the first.
I'm a degenerate. I'll watch all 4. So
I know you
all
watch
3.
all
So I'll
4.
join you guys too.
I'm actually I went back and watched last year's preseason just to
We'll
really
each
know
take a
the film.
quarter.
Sort of get yourself
Harry tells
in
us
the
what
mode.
happened in the first quarter. Jason will tell us break down the second quarter. Mark's got the third. I'll take the sickos to the fourth quarter.
There you go. Perfect.
Is there overtime in the preseason?
Let me tell you
know.
about Elijah Cooks' one-on-one reps in that fourth quarter.
Hey, Jeremy Von
Phillips.
Skyver, we appreciate it. But Smoking the ganja. What? Of all the ones to click on, there we go. Rizzy68, what's going on? Horrible scouts. You were talking about
we're talking about Q.
Scouting Quinyon Mitchell in college. Talking about Q. Lou, babyface Nelson. Like it.
What does that mean?
Alfredo, Fangio going to stay here long enough for the 3-4 Super Bowl in Hurts era. Love it.
3 or 4 Super
all that
Bowls,
and more.
yeah.
Oh, 3 or 4 Super Bowl, not 3-4 defense. Miss Scoozy. And then finally, E-Money Bentley just says, go Birds. As always, go Birds.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Be back with you guys on Thursday. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to Locked On Eagles YouTube channel.